Hey everybody, I'm the Rusty Mechanic, and today I'm going to take a look at Newage's H63 Gorgo. This is their version of Slag, one of the Dinobots. This is their fourth release of the Dinobots from the Transformers G1 cartoon. We're going to go through all the regular stuff. We'll check out the box. We'll take a look at the alt mode, take a look at the accessories, go through the transformation, check out the articulation, and then take a look at the robot mode. And of course, if you do like these videos, please don't forget to hit that like button down below. It sure does help me out a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well if you do like these videos so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos that I have planned. And of course, I just want to give a shout out to ShowZStore.com as well, which is where I got this guy from. Please go ahead and check out their website. And if you do, please don't forget to use my code RUSTY. At the top of their website, they have a box that says support your favorite reviewer, and you can put my code RUSTY in there, which also helps to support the channel. And with all that out of the way, let's get into it. Let's take a quick look at the box. I always like Newage's box art and stuff. So some box art on the front that's an actual rendition of the figure inside in the robot mode. Standard stuff from Newage. So we got a picture of both modes on the top of the box, and a picture on the side. Same thing on the other side. And the thing I always like, of course, on the back, this is a very cool picture. I really like this picture of the three original Dinobots, right? Grimlock, Slag, Sludge, out of the cartoon when Ratchet here was presenting them for the very first time. And of course, as always, these are the actual Newage figures, all three of them. This one too, right? Ratchet as well. I always like that they used their figures when doing the box art on the back, so very cool stuff there. Enough of talking about the box. I actually have to use a spudger on this box because I find that this is one of those boxes that kind of gets stuck when you're trying to open it, and I don't want to tear the box. And there we go. And typical bubble packaging, of course, from Newage, with all the accessories here up in the corner. What I did note is, I don't typically talk about the instructions, but it looks like they're going with a new style for their instructions. I mean, it's similar, yet different. But typically they had like a smaller, multiple panel set of instructions, so a little bit different. These I found these were actually a little easier to read than the stuff that they've had before, probably just because there's more real estate on the page. Anyway, let's go ahead and pop this guy open. Get him out of the bump the camera there. I'll try not to do that. We'll take a look at the accessories in a second. Get him out of the plastic bag here so we can get a good look at him. This dino mode is very, very cool. As typical with the Newage stuff, right? Like, this thing is fully painted front to back. So there's most of it's like a matte. Oh no, sorry, not a matte. Sorry, it's like a semi-gloss color all around. The yellow, the light gray for the head shell, whatever you want to call it, the horns. Gray for the body, most part, and some accents going on here in the body, right? This red and gray area here, sort of a gunmetal gray, and again yellow back at the tail, right? And everything we remember from the cartoon for sure. Dark blue chrome for the eyes. Just take a look at the underbelly. Everything's nice and clean on it. I do kind of find there just seemed to be a lot of paneling going on for this Dinobot compared to the other ones, particularly in around here. We'll get into this, but the transformation, like this part here, does make up the bottom of the feet, and unfortunately I find it just adds a whole bunch of extra paneling that maybe wasn't, needed. Same thing in around here, like there's some paneling and tabbing that's very, very visible in the figure, which kind of detracts from it, which is disappointing because when typically we don't care about the bottom of the figure, but the bottom of the figure is actually the cleanest looking part on the figure. There is a little bit of articulation, just the same with the other Dinobots, right? You can move the tail around. It does just, I don't even have this tabbed in properly. There we go. It does just swing left to right. It doesn't move up and down. Same thing with the head. There is some articulation in the head. You can actually tilt the head up. And you can also tilt it down a bit as well. The top half of the shell, right, the bone structure that makes up the back of the head, the armor plating, that's the words I was looking for. Armor plating for the skull does pivots just so you can tilt the head. There is also, you can get some left to right movement, and this is sort of part of the transformation, which we'll see in a minute, but you can actually pull the head forward. It's on a slider, just so that you can get some left to right movement as well. So excellent articulation in the alt mode here. And same thing with the legs, right? So you've got, there's actually like an elbow joint at the legs. There's a bicep swivel. This is, of course, his arm. So all this stuff works into the articulation of the arm. It has like a butterfly joint as well. I actually find this is a little annoying because it does sort of flop around when you're trying to position him in his dino mode here, right? So you're sort of constantly playing with the shoulders to straighten them out. I suppose it depends, like, if you're trying to go for like a wide stance or something, maybe that's what you're going for. But because there's no toe tilt, you can't really, you can't flatten out the foot if you're trying to go for, say, a more wider aggressive stance like this. But again, it's, good articulation. There's, foot rocker for the back leg. Back leg rotates around 360 degrees, whatever you want. You can move this one. I mean, this is, obviously part of the transformation, but you can move this out as well. So again, really nice looking our dino mode. Again, just a little bit of paneling. There's like the paint applications are really, really nice. The details are really, really nice. Just a little too much line, like paneling for my liking. The toe is sitting there. There's all this paneling going on up here that make up the arms. But like the paint application is really, really nice. Like this is going to look really, really good on the shelf with the rest of the Dinobots guaranteed. So let's go ahead and do the transformation. And I will tell you before I get into this that the transformation of this guy, it's not as pleasant as the other Dinobots. I'll just say that outright. It does seem to be a little more complicated than it needs to be, which again speaks to the fact that there's all this extra paneling on there. And there's some bits that are like finicky. Things sort of flop around on you as you're trying to do the transformation. But you'll see as I'm going through this, like there's going to be a little bit of frustration here, I think, on my part for sure. Anyway, typical stuff. We're going to start with the legs. So we're just going to open up the legs and the toe folds up inside. Back half of the leg opens up and you're just going to flip the foot inside. And you take this and rotate it towards the back. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Flick the toe in, open up the back of the leg, flick the foot in, close this up, and rotate that to the back. I typically like to just get the arms or the front legs out of the way for the rest of this. You can get in here on the underbelly. We'll just rotate the underbelly up out of the way, and we'll get the head out of the way. We'll break the tail away, and you want to swing it all the way down. You got to get the ribs apart first. So they're actually tabbed in on this little tab here on either side. Just reach in here once you've got this, the underbelly swung forward, and it just untabs and lifts up around the legs. Same thing on this side. You're going to bring it up around the legs so it's folded all the way up. That actually breaks the entire back free, and you can actually pull it forward just to get everything out of the way, and just let the ab crunch help you to get the backpack out of the way so you can work with the rest of it. So now we should be able to pop this loose like that. And then we'll break the tail in half so that these two bottom halves swing away. And again, this is where like there's like clearance and tolerance issues. You need to open up the entire underbelly, and then watching the arms, you can swing this up out of the way. It kind of pivots up here at this point just to get it to swing out of the way, and this will then allow you to take the entire back and swing it down 180 degrees to form the legs. They'll naturally break apart because once you break the tail apart, and rotate the legs literally just sort of pop apart. There is like a tab right here, but as you can see, it's really small, so it doesn't hold very well. You do want to spread the legs away from each other so you've got lots of room to work with all this stuff here. So we're basically trying to collapse all this stuff inside the leg, and we're going to start with opening up this panel. The rear leg rotates around 180 degrees, and then you want to rotate that around so it's flush, because this tab will go into that slot there just to close this up. Tail then, so for the part that has the end of the tail, you do have to make sure it's in the right position so it fits in there. If it's rotated around the other way, it won't actually fit in here. And then you can just collapse the tail in that back half of the back that we separated earlier. So it is swung out 90 degrees like this, so then you just want to bring it so that it's in line with the rest of the leg. And you'll see like the spines of the tail actually fit into these openings in this panel that we just locked into place, and it literally just swings in there. There is a tab that's here as well that will peg into the part of the leg that we, the foot that rotated around earlier, and then you can just tab it into place so that it sits like that, and that's the leg part. So this is the part that I find is annoying, because this part of the back, or this piece of the leg now, will form the bottom of the foot. As you can see, it's wide open, and it's a lot of thin panels and floppy bits, if you will. But the toe is actually locking it in place, so you need to rotate the toe 90 degrees, and then you can flip this all the way out like that, so that it's you know, in line with the toe. The bottom part of this here will actually swing out. If I can get a hold of this. Oh, sorry. It's this top half here. So this piece swings out. And I'm going to bring this into the camera. Hopefully you guys can see this. But this is a slider pin here. I hate these, by the way. I hate slider pins. So this part will then slide down to the bottom. Then you can put this entire mechanism flush with the foot, and this piece then tucks in to form the bottom of the foot. And there you have the leg, which I've managed to rotate 180 degrees while I was doing that transformation. That's how floppy this entire section of the transformation is. So I'll just go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other side. So we're going to open this, rotate the dino leg in, then rotate it down, tab it into place. We'll move to the tail. So this is the section that doesn't have the tail end, so it doesn't matter. So we're just tucking it into there. Swing this so that it's in line with the leg. The spines will tab into the back of the panel. The little tab here on the back will tab into the back of the leg. And then we get into the finicky part of the foot, which I can never remember which way you have to rotate the toe, but there we go. So we're going to rotate this flat. We're going to swing this piece out on a slider pin. We're going to slide it to the bottom. We're going to bring it down to the bottom of the foot, and then we're going to tuck this piece to form the bottom of the foot. And I did forget, sorry, on the other leg, then you just want to lock the whole thing back in by rotating the toe back into the proper position like that. And there we have the legs. And then we get into the chest. So this can be a little irritating too, and I'll just show from this angle. So this is the front chest plate, which is on the back. So, and the head is inside the panel. So when you lift up the underbelly part, it does expose the head, and it does move the chest plate to the back. So this whole piece needs to rotate 180 degrees around, obviously, so that the head is on top of the chest. You have to watch the chest plate, though, because it does have to come out through the front. So as you're rotating this around, you want to make sure that the chest plate remains bent at this angle so that it clears the bottom part of the abdomen while you're doing this rotation. And I can already see that it's not cooperating. So you kind of have to play around with it to try to get it to, there we go, rotate out. And then you want to bring the chest plate all the way forward and then put the chest plate back so that it's flush. The two halves of what made up the underbelly, right? So we're going to fold in these two panels here, and the whole thing tucks into the back just like that. For the ribs, right? The dino ribs are this back piece here. So these two bottom panels here that tabbed into the side of the stomach or the belly of the dino mode, we just want to flick those in so that they're out of the way. So that slider pin that's here, so this is that part that I showed earlier that gives the dino head its articulation. That needs to be tucked away so that it's flush. We also need to, I forgot to show the inside of the mouth, because he does actually have a gun. By the way, this is super annoying to get at. You do need a spudger of some type to get at the mouth so that you can open it up, because it fits so snugly into the top of the head. I'll just show this now though, but there's the mouth, and there is a gun barrel in here as well, just like the rest of the Dinobots, that they have some type of a mouth weapon, so he has one as well. Anyway, you want to open up the mouth and then rotate this panel 180 degrees. This is the part of the transformation that I find is really odd. I'm not really sure why it's there, other than, and I'll show you, it's to break the horns free so you can rotate them out, so that they're 90 degrees from the head, which makes it more cartoon accurate. But it's super annoying because it's another sliding part. So by pushing the mouthpiece into the top of the head, it actually allows the armor plating at the top of the head to slide forward, and it releases the horns. So if you watch really close, you'll see that this actually comes out as I'm pushing on the mouth. And I'm hoping that with the lighting and stuff, you guys will be able to see this, and it is super stiff. So that's as much as you're going to get. So you'll see two pins get exposed, and now the horns are free. So you can rotate the horns out to the side, and then you can close the mouth up into the top of the head. The two sets of side armor plates on the side of the head, they fold forward 90 degrees. You just need to get the sides of the backpack out of the way to put those in. And then there's a tab that is, actually let's show it the spudger. There's a tab that's right here and right here, and it actually goes into the back here and here, and the armor, the sides of the head, the armor plating on the sides of the head, they actually go into the back of the shoulders here and here, and it just looks like, I'll show it in a sec. There's also a pivot point right here at the base of this. So as you're pushing the backpack towards the back of the figure, you'll see it collapse in, and then this should tab into the back of the shoulders like that. And again, we'll just, again, as you're doing all this, like, there are parts of this that will move around, so you just want to make sure everything's flush, right? Move the horns out to the side, move the backpack pieces so that they're straight out, and you end up with, right, something that looks like that without the silly head tilt. Something that looks like that on the back. And then the last part of it is just the arms, which of course are tucked inside. So you want to take the toes from the leg, and we'll just flip them to the back of the arms, and then the top half of the arm opens up, and inside is where the fist gets stored. So these fists are in the box with the accessories, right? They're on the peg, so you just need to break them off and put them in. But it is nice that you can put the fists on the figure And then they still store away within the arm as part of the transformation, so you don't have to take them off and throw them in the box. So that's always a nice addition, nice thought by Newage when it comes to their engineering. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So the toes go to the bottom, open up the arm, flick out the fist, close up the arm, and there you have Slag in robot mode. Again, lots of finicky bits on this when you're posing him that you can easily bump out of place, or you can easily bump the horns out of place. You can bump the backpack out of the way. Before we get into all that, let's just take a look at the figure itself, because it does look really good. I mean, it looks like out of the cartoon. There's lots of nice details in here that are in the cartoon. There are some details on it that I don't like, but overall, again, for the most part, you have a painted figure from head to toe, right? We'll take a look at the head sculpt, right? But nicely painted head sculpt, completely red face with the exception of the two gray spots, right, on either side of the cheekbones, right? Square head, crown shape. Again, all the details, the dark blue eyes, chrome blue eyes. Again, all the details you kind of remember from the cartoon for Slag. Very nice details in the head sculpt. Very nicely painted. Chest is painted. The butterfly joints here and these parts that make up the left and right of his chest, they are just plastic. It's red molded plastic. Same thing with the hip skirts down here. They are also just red molded plastic. But other than that, everything else on this figure is painted. The grays are painted. Yellow is painted. This lighter gray here and the green knees. This is all painted stuff. Kind of an eggshell finish to it. Again, it looks very, very good for being cartoon accurate, at least from what I remember. The only thing that bothers me with this is, and it probably has to do with Magic Square having released their Slag fairly recently as well, right? But when you look at Magic Square's release, it's a lot cleaner looking than this, right? And like, there's a whole bunch of paneling that's going on here in the arms that's a little distracting. You've got some, the paneling that's going on for the butterfly joint. The feet just look like it just looks odd compared. If you go and look at the cartoon rendition, right? Like, his feet didn't look like this. They did, but they were just square chunks. You know what I mean? Like, this looks broken up, and this these areas in the front of the legs are typically just like flat, but here they've got like a bit of a protrusion here from where the bottom of the feet sit on the back of the dyno mode. You look at it from the side, there's all this paneling that's going on here, right? These tabs are sticking out, these slots that are here. There's some significant gapping going on in the backpack when you're looking at the side. Like, you can see this peg, right, that's back there that holds the backpack onto the figure, right? It's you can look right through the backpack, through the back of the figure. So those things are a little disappointing. And then oddly enough, when you look at the back of the figure, and who cares about the back of the figure, because it's the back of the figure. You're not going to be displaying your figure like this. But I almost want to say this is the cleanest part of the figure, given that it is the back. I mean, yes, you can see the screw holes. Yes, you can see, this opening for the knee and that. But this, like, the backpack itself is neatly tucked away and collapsed and looks nice. Kind of versus the front of the figure with all these line panels and stuff in the arms. This line panel that's here in the chest, because of the way that it pivots through the center of the chest. I'm not even sure that I like the way that they left these hollowed out areas of the inside of the mouth. I would rather that they had filled those in, just to give this a little cleaner looking behind the head. But overall, I mean, this is going to look good on your shelf if you're going to display it in this mode. I mean, personally, I think most of us are probably going to display this in Dino mode anyway. So I'm not overly concerned about the way that this looks in the robot mode. But I do feel like Newage could have done a little bit better with this look than what they have given us here. Let's go ahead and do the articulation. So this is another complaint that I have is, so the head is on a ball joint, which means that it can rotate 360 degrees, and you can do the whole, confused look, right? It can look forward, it can look back, but you can't actually rotate the head all that far because it immediately bumps into the back of the backpack, right? The dino head. And in fact, if you want to rotate it any further than this, then you actually have to untab the dino head so that you can get at the head and rotate it, and then you can't actually peg the backpack into the back of the figure anymore because of the way that the head is rotated. So that's a little bit of a disappointment. I wish that Newage had given us a little more clearance there, but you can position the head whichever way you want. Just keeping in mind you have to untab the backpack. As I pointed out a couple times already, so it does have a butterfly joint, pretty much, right, for the shoulders, so you can pivot the hands all the way into the middle. It is on a friction, I guess a universal friction joint here, right? So you can rotate the arms all the way around if you want. You just have to be mindful of the backpack. It's on a pivot joint here, which gets you 90 degrees for the arms at the shoulder. It has a 360 degree bicep swivel thanks to a mushroom peg that's there. We get the standard double elbow joint from Newage in the elbow. Let's see, I'll get the arms out of the way. We do have a waist swivel, right? Lots of rotation there. We do have an ab crunch, almost 90 degrees. And then we get into, I don't know what you call this joint. I wish I could come up with a name for whatever this is. But Newage uses this a lot in their figures instead of, hip panels and things like that, right? But right, the leg is in like this half moon shape, universal joint, I guess, right? That always gives us like that 90 degree forward. Right. There's actually a butt flap on this guy. So if you want to go back 90 degrees or almost 90 degrees, you can. You just have to get that butt flap out of the way in the back. The backpack does get in the way, so the leg can only go this far, but if it wasn't there, then it would be able to go the full 90 degrees back. Legs do go all the way out. I will note that this friction joint, and I think it's because of all of the plastic that's in the leg here, there is some weight here. It doesn't hold the leg up very well, unfortunately, but it can go out 90 degrees. We also have a thigh swivel, 90 degree leg bend, and then we also have a toe tilt in fairly decently. There is no toe rocker per se. I guess there is because, okay, yes, I thought the toe locked it in. So yeah, you can actually tilt the toe out if you want. Now it's the bottom of the foot, not the toe, but you can tilt it out. And there is no toe tilt out, so it's only in and down, if you will. And the other thing with the knees too, again, and I think it's because of all the plastic, the weight that's in here. Same thing with the knees, is the knees don't hold the weight very well either. So again, I find as I'm transforming or manipulating, the legs do have a tendency to fall down, but minor complaint, just something of note. Let's take a look at the accessories. I forgot to show. How did I forget to show this? All right, we'll do that in a second. So there are the two fists that it comes with. Of course, it also comes with a set of open hands as well that have some articulation at the wrist, right? So right there at the peg. So you can obviously replace the fists with these open hands just by pulling them out of the end and then pegging this hand into the end of the arm. His blaster, this I found was a little disappointing too, just because there wasn't a whole bunch of detail. I mean, there's different segments to the barrels as part of the details. There's a scope at the top. It's open-ended in the end of the barrel, which, okay, I guess. But it's not painted. This is just pure beige molded plastic, which is okay given the color of it. But given the fact that the rest of the weapons of the Dinobots were painted, I was kind of expecting this to be painted too. But you can also see where the blaster was in the plastic injected mold. This is the part that would have been broken away right as part of it. So I wish that had been a little bit cleaner. If this had been painted, they would have been able to hide that particular piece right there. But otherwise, I mean, it's a blaster. This is the part I'm super excited about. This is the accessory I like. Again, these blast effects that Newage keep giving us, you just keep putting these in the box, please. I love these blast effects. But this is his ball lightning blast effect, again from the cartoon, for when he's in dino mode. And these actually, see if the camera will pick it up. It will, if I can get it to focus. So there's little holes at the end of each ball. So it pegs onto the dino head just by placing these on the tips of each of the horns. And I will tell you, though, that, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, right? You guys can correct me here if I'm wrong, but I find it doesn't sit on the small horn very well. So maybe I'm doing something wrong there, but that is essentially what it looks like, or what it should look like, right, when he's in dino mode. So that's a very cool blast effect. I like that very, very much. And of course, the blaster just, we can take a look at this just to see what it looks like, but the blaster just fits into the hole in the hand, so that he ends up looking like, something menacing like that. I mean, this is obviously going into my collection. It is going to be in dino mode. I don't have any problem with the dino mode whatsoever. It's more the robot mode. I've got some issues with the robot mode, but it's not awful. I mean, it's cartoon accurate. It's well painted. It's well proportioned. Actually, speaking of the proportions, I did forget the arms are a little bit longer than I would like them to be, right? Like, they're almost down to the knees with the fists. So I wish the arms were a little more proportioned there. I wish it was more fully painted. Like, I wish the shoulders were painted. I wish the chest was painted. I wish the abdomen, the hips, I wish that all of those things were painted. I wish this was a more fully painted figure. I wish the mouthpiece was filled in a bit more. And the feet are really throwing me off. I wish these were blockier, more than this. These seem too small. They seem like broken up blocks that were just sort of stuck on there. So it's not perfect. If the fifth Dinobot ends up being as good as the other three, then 4 to 5 ain't bad. But this isn't doing it for me 100%. I do really like the Dino mode. I do kind of wish the robot mode matched up with the Dino mode, but all the articulation is there that we expect. Really cool accessory with the blast effect for his Dino mode. We get a blaster. I also wish that there had been a sword. That's the only other complaint I have about accessories. As I always say, sometimes, too many accessories is too many, but I would like to have seen a sword here. He does have another hand. Why not give him a sword weapon as well? Probably comes with one of the other versions that I don't have, but so be it. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you very much. I hope you did enjoy this video. Again, if you did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give that like button a push down below. Don't forget to also check the description down below for all the links to all my other social media platforms. And there's also ways that you can help to support the channel as well. Once again, I am the Rusty Mechanic, and we'll see you next time.